Hey guys, welcome to the first match between TTOne and Root Catz. We have TTOne starting in the upper right-hand corner as the blue Protoss. Bottom left-hand corner, we have Catz as the yellow Zerg. And no matter what happens on this match, I assume TTOne's going to open up with some early aggression. It's going to be exciting because these guys like playing in-your-face styles. So I assume we're not going to see a longer sort of macro drawn-out match. Instead, we're going to see a lot of action very, very early. And I think Xel'Naga Caverns is an excellent map to do so, particularly because you really have to keep track of your opponent's army, particularly in the mid-game. If we are seeing anything that goes that long, hopefully we'll get the lag taken care of. I think that's our additional caster once again. And yeah, Xel'Naga Caverns, I think, two-player map, fun to do it on.
Yep, and you're absolutely right. Both these guys are very aggressive. In fact, Catz, again, in that Just Invitational, one of the strategies he utilized a few times to win some games is a proxy hatchery, which is, you know, the definition of risky play, but at the same time, it's super exciting. It's unorthodox, and it's something that people don't see very often. So I don't necessarily anticipate that strategy here just because, again, they kind of run in the same circles, and TT1's probably heard of it and would be prepared for it. So I'm assuming it'll be a fairly straight-up play. But again, you're absolutely right. With they are aggression-first type of players. So I'm looking to see what kind of aggression we'll see here.
Really, I think what it comes down to is, particularly on Xel'Naga Caverns, is a lot of this will probably be down to army positioning. And just knowing TT1 and his style of play and knowing his that's the thing. It's weird. I hate to say it, but I think that's the specialty of both these guys. And it's just going to come down to who's stronger in which race in these little small macro fights and getting their units in position, etc. It looks like Catz has scouted TT1's base. He's going to see very, very standard opening, gas, pylon. Additionally, it looks like he's actually opened pool first, which is very standard for him. He's got an extractor, he's got that spawning pool, and actually, never mind. He's got a drone out towards that natural expansion. Did open pool first, but he's at least showing something. Looks like TT1 wandering back in with that probe.
Well, just a difference in players. I mean, Catz wanted to do hatch first, actually. He had the money for it. He snuck the drone around. He wanted to get the hatch first, but actually TT1 staked out in that position. That's something I wish Minigun would have done in his series against Psy. You know, again, not like the biggest of deals, but just something for those of you at home who play Protoss or just play against Zerg. It is something to look to do to inconvenience their build. So he did have to go pool first, but that was not his nominal choice.
It's actually interesting. I'm surprised that TT1, knowing just kind of what his standard thing is, didn't perhaps just delay a little bit, let that hatchery go down nevertheless, so he could actually apply some of that early stalker pressure. I know that he's very, very comfortable and familiar with. It looks like that drone now escaping from that base Zergling speed upgrade for Catz, which, again, one of his MOs is early Zerglings and lots of them. Looks like that probe is escaping from the base away a stalker early. He's actually going sentry first, which leads to believe he's going a little bit more defensively to start.
Yeah, and that usually typifies the expansion. And there we go. We do see the pylon being placed down at the base of the ramp. It very much so is at least being broadcast that TT1's interest is in expanding, and pretty quick, too. The other signifier for that is the 1 gas. So if there were 4 gates right now, you could go ahead and safely predict 4 gate, LOL, but there is only 3, and it looks like he's going to expand with that heavy sentry use.
Yeah, that's one thing you do need on Xel'Naga Caverns because it's such a wide natural expansion. You can't really play cheap on the gateways. You can't really play cheap on the units because it's so wide and so exposed here. Just a huge, you got several pathways into that natural, so you have to play it ground heavy no matter what. And so in the meantime, looks like 2 Zerglings just going to come up to try to provide a little harassment. Again, standard Catz, maybe see if he can dance around the Sentry and the Zealot, easily backing it, chasing them down, backing them off. But Catz, again, beautifully, and this is like his sort of thing that I really got to comment on. Zergling speed kicking in, but he managed to get that Zergling out with just 3 health. And you'll see that time and time again. He'll just throw in small units and somehow manage to peel them back out before they die, despite just teeny, minuscule amounts of health. And I think that's one of the key components of his play.
Yeah, you know, one of the true markers of a great Zerg is maximizing their information and using those relatively inexpensive and disposable, for all intents and purposes, Zerglings. And we see that with him marking the towers, as you said, skirting that top, knowing it's an expansion, and now he's actually circling around and just getting complete map vision. So Catz, certainly one of the better Zergs in the North American ladder, is definitely getting the fullest out of these 2 Zerglings, which is a relatively inexpensive commitment. And here we go, he's going to move into the base, and again, just as you actually foreshadowed, well, there we go. Gets squished at the end, but great information. Sees the stalkers, sees the additional gateway and the expansion and the timing of it. Tremendous information, especially if you consider the cost.
Yeah, just a little, and he still almost managed to get out. He just positioned it a little bit off. The two stalkers got the two shots. I think he just underestimated the amount of stalkers that are out in the field. Looks like he's going to lose. Nope, still, again, 2 health. Manages to sneak out with that Zergling. Absolutely fantastic. And this is standard Catz as well. Going to dive in with 4 Zerglings in that back corner. As soon as that army's out of position, you're just going to sneak in, be able to get a couple drone kills, disrupt TT1's economy. And again, this is just his style. He's very psychological, very good at catching opponents out of position and just keeping units alive. So ran in with 4, managed to get 2 probes, sacrificed 2 Zerglings, and just playing fantastically and efficiently. Has really good map coverage, has really good information. His natural expansion is absolutely rocking. As far as just pure harvesters, it looks like he's doing pretty well, just up 2, doesn't have a huge economic lead, but is absolutely rolling. Both players, I would say, playing pretty fantastic at this stage.
Yeah, a little bit of a mismanagement from the Zerg. He is supply blocked at this point, a pretty inconvenienced time, and you do see the mineral to gas disparity, which means he probably needed to get that 4th gas faster, if not the 3rd. So a little bit of a resource mismanagement, and that kind of opens the window for dangerous times ahead. But TT1 is actually not opting for like a big timing like he is actually known to do. We do see the Robo going down there at that natural, which does indicate that he's looking to go a little bit more into the long haul, which means that Catz kind of skirts by that little misstep unscathed. And actually, we are going to see that he's going to take that high yield expansion. Again, very aggressive. It doesn't have to be army aggression to be aggressive. It could just be aggressive expanding, and that is what Catz is nominating. That's not even really a word. Yes, thank you. Thank you, my partner. That is what he's trying to do right now.
Happens to the best of us. I think in the first cast I was doing the WR thing because of the coldness. Some more Zerglings diving into the natural expansion. Looks like 2 Robo opening 4. Ooh, maybe these Zerglings going to get a probe. Let's see if they can see that second robotics facility at the natural. And again, Catz getting huge amounts of information here. Has spotted both Robos and the Zergling almost making it into the main. Beautiful block off by TT1 with a warp in, though, of a Stalker. And that was huge, actually.
Yeah.
To deny further information. And I really don't know that I can emphasize that enough. And actually canceling that second Robo now, feeling uncomfortable with having it spotted out in the field, felt like he gave too much information, so pulling a fast one. And this is almost everything counter to everything I was saying. I was saying, oh, it'll be in your face, it'll be fast, it'll be aggressive. And here, it looks like TT1 deciding to play a little bit more long-term economic and forcing Catz to do the same. Catz actually taking his gold expansion now, and it looks like TT1, yeah, playing a little bit more slow and economically as well. I think he's moving up to take his gold. It's possible he's going for a little bit of attack. I don't think this attack is going to get much accomplished, though. No, he's going back to that gold expansion. Going to take that to open up again to try to keep this economic lead. He's significant.
The larva count of your opponent, the Zerg, and not, mainly what you try to get them to do is build more units as opposed to drones, which affects their economy. So the Protoss player is just making himself apparent in this field. It's not really an attack. It's not really a defense, but it also gives him good information. Like, he'll go up here, poke out a couple creep tumors, but just kind of show the Zerg, like, hey, here I am. I'm on the fringe of your creep. I'm looking to attack, but actually, this could turn into a full-blown engagement. The Protoss does actually decide to make a stand here. I don't like this choice. I think he's out of position, and I think his army is smaller. Catz's production is going to be able to sweep over this. Is my prediction. I mean, good force field use, but at what cost? That energy is needed for that Colossus army, and he is now out of Zealots, and he's going to be able to clean up here a little bit, and the creep probably will keep the Hydras from running down this army. But again, I don't like that engagement by the Protoss player. I think he used up too much energy and lost too much units. And actually, Catz is pursuing a couple of scraggling units, turn around to make a final stand, but it was just a final stand. And then the Protoss player is pushing out, again, a few Immortals, some Stalkers, but no sentries for support. And it looks like Catz might try to capitalize here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is exactly what Catz loves to see. He's going to move up with those Zerglings, catching a lot of those Immortals, drones off the line to try to help defend, and more Zerglings pouring in, the Hydralisk just eating through the Harvesters while they can, because he's happy to back off this attack, because he can reproduce this very, very rapidly. It looks like the Immortals starting to get picked away as well, and yeah, definitely going to get picked away. TT1 losing a lot of Harvesters in the past minute and a half of battle, and this is, again, because Catz able to capitalize on that engagement from TT1. The Hydralisk continuing to pound away, but it looks like they are going to be cleaned up with what's left of the Stalkers, but again, not a good situation from TT1, despite the fact he's able to defend that last attack. And Catz actually, never mind, not going to pause for even a moment, sending more Zerglings in to try to clean up what's left. And this is what I was expecting more of the battle. So the Zerglings running in, trying to surround what they can. And Colossus is there to provide what's left of defense, but you can see Catz actually grouping up more Zerglings near that natural expansion, near the gold expansion, to maybe dive or maybe even stop that from happening. And it looks like a little bit of mistake. There's a single scouting hydro. It's like, hey, what's up, guys? A little bit late.
Where's the party?
Like, hey, where's the party? Talking about going past 2 map bases.
Yeah, I mean, TT1's definitely been put back on his heel. You can see that he's just kind of trying to get out that critical number of Colossus. That is pretty much, at this point in time, his one chance, and that is just to maximize the use of his Colossus. We do have Corruptors joining the field, and Catz is pushing forward again. No sentries at play, so he's not going to be able to push these guys back or use Guardian Shields. Those Corruptors are going to work on one Colossus. Meanwhile, the rest of the Protoss army is actually doing a fairly good job of slicing and dicing that Zerg army. 2 Colossus still remain relatively unscathed, and a 3rd Colossus is just now being started. My fear, though, is that the Protoss player has just suffered too many Harvester losses and is also down a base at this time, and that base is a high yield. So I think Catz, as long as he doesn't just throw his units away, should be able to just lean on the Protoss player with the just sheer girth of his units and also the quality. We do see 2 Evolution Chambers going down, and he is unupgraded this time. So TT1 continuing to bitch and moan about lag. Deal with it. It's something we've all played with for 10 years. It sucks, but you know, you're in a tournament for free and you can win money, so shut your mouth.
Look, and I gotta say, I like this. You got a creep superhighway directly to that gold expansion, which is exactly what TT1 does not want to see. It's going to be even harder to get that expansion up. Let's see if he's going to be able to pick off that pylon. So it looks like Catz actually engaging just to throw a couple units away, take that pylon down, engage a little bit, try to pick off the Colossi, which he has. He's actually got 2 Colossi down, actually working on the 3rd. Might be able to get this 3rd one as well. Just a little bit of health left the Stalkers down, trying to focus on the Corruptors up above, but not quite able to do it. And the Corruptors all getting taken out, but wiping out every single Colossi that was fielded, which is really going to open up the Zergling, the Roach, the Hydra play to stop that gold base. Things not looking good for TT1 at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that the Colossus are not able to withstand the strategic play of those Corruptors, and without those Colossus, this Protoss army is just not very it's not very heavy-handed. You know, the Stalker is a nice unit, but it is not like a featured unit that can just take on anything. They will start to whittle down, but again, Catz kind of shaving off corners of his army in each of these engagements, so I would like to see him kind of mass up and do a killing blow as opposed to a lot of these little strikes, but it seems to be working anyways.
He is growing in supply significantly. If you just look at the army count, he's at 131. He's continuing to climb. Looks like TT1 keeps middling around this 90 count, is because every time he engages, Catz just takes him down. But yeah, Catz needs to, I would say, just group up an attack force at this stage. You have a strong economic lead. Instead, he keeps going with kind of these mini attacks, these little task force, losing portions of them. But now TT1 in full attack mode isn't even, I don't think he's even planning on taking the gold expansion at this stage. I think he realizes he's far enough economically behind that he might want to just attack forward, and it looks like he is producing nothing but Colossi. And then Sentries. Beautiful micro from TT1, though. Yeah, I have to agree.
I mean, this is why he's such a high-level player. I mean, he's been behind, I would say, all game long. I think he made one critical mistake, which I'll give a little bit more analysis on later, but since then, I mean, just with sheer good micro, great army composition, and relatively solid play, he's able to keep himself in this game somehow down a high yield.
A standard expansion, a high yield expansion, yet he's still in this match. It looks like Catz engaging here. This is not the best positioning for TT1, particularly with only a single sentry. It looks like those Corruptors just wailing on those Colossi, and easily going to